85 offers on one house. The housing market's potentially picking up. Are we starting to have inventory issues again in the city of Toronto? And the answer to all of that is, well, it kind of depends. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom Storey. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto and make educational videos about the housing market. If you learn anything new in today's video, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our growing community. If you want to make a move in the Toronto real estate market this year, you can also go into the first link in the description, book a call with me at a time that works for you. If you're on the social media platforms tracking what's happening with the real estate market right now, whether that be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or anything else that you're on, you're starting to see a lot of talk about things picking up. And I wanted to try to get to the bottom of it and actually show you what the numbers are saying for January, not just what you're hearing on social media. We're also talking about in a recent podcast episode that as you start seeing real estate agents posting on social media that there's all these shoes at the front of an open house, it kind of signals what direction the market might be going. And as I've said many times, especially in the last video I put out, that the market's not back to craziness, but it is starting to heat up again compared to what we were used to in the last 6 months of 2023. There must just be something psychological about clicking into a new year, going from 2023 to 2024, because it's just one day, it's just 1 month. And if you look back the last 4 months at the end of last year, things got worse, but then they've started to get better, at least compared to last year so far in 2024. But if you just read the headlines or just read what's going on in these outlier situations where like 1 or 2 houses get a whole bunch of offers, you have a lot of questions about what's going on. So I'm going to do my best here to break down what the numbers are actually telling us. Months of inventory is a calculation that we follow very, very closely because it's the best representation of how the market is moving. And it's at the end of every single month. You would take the total number of active listings on the market and divide it by the total number of sales. Now, you can push this down into micro markets, just do it for specific property types, specific areas, and it's usually a really, really good indication. So for the city of Toronto at the end of January, it's looking like it's going to wrap up where we had an inventory level across the board, all property types included, of about 4, meaning that 25% of properties that went to the market found a buyer in the last 30 days. To get that calculation, we had about 5,300 active listings as of me recording this video, about 1,300 transactions in the last 30 days. That's a pretty healthy market. That's a balanced out market where really you might see a little bit of price growth, but what you're seeing the craziness happen is only in certain segments, and that's what I want to talk about next. If we just focus in on the freehold segment of the Toronto real estate market, we had about 1,400 listings as of today. In the last 30 days, we had almost 450 properties sell, which would put us at about 3.25 months of inventory. That's kind of teetering the line between balance and seller's market. A seller's market for me is anything under 3. Okay, so the entire city has over 4 months of inventory, which means 25% of active listings are going to find a buyer every month, which puts us in a balanced market. Even freehold, which is a segment of the market that has heated up the most, still has over 3 months of inventory. So why are we hearing these stories that a few properties are getting just a ton of offers? And that's because if you drill down into the micro markets, there are certain pockets that have under 1 month of inventory or under 2 months of inventory. And that's where the offer dates are still working very, very well. But just because it happened here doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen over here. We also have to keep in mind that a lot of active listings came off the market at the end of last year and more inventory will come. Now let's talk about condos, because condos, let's call it what it was, were very sluggish for the last 6 months of 2023. Over 30% of active condo inventory did come off the market in December and is yet to come back. And we ended the year firmly in a buyer's market where you actually saw condo prices decrease for 6 months in a row. I have a feeling that's going to change with the January numbers. They are going to be higher than December and likely November and October as well. That's not really saying much because those weren't really great months, but it's looking like the downward trend is going to stop in January. Then we're going to have to see how February and March, because there are a lot more listings that are being prepared. We're preparing a ton right now. They're going to fill that gap between supply and demand. So as of today, there's almost 4,000 active condo listings in the city of Toronto. And in the month of January, 900 condos found a buyer. So the condo market still firmly has over 4.5 months of inventory. So if you're a potential condo buyer, I don't think there's going to be big price growth this year. If it stays in this 4 to 5 month range, prices aren't really going to move. They're just going to hover. If we get back over 7 months of inventory for an extended period of time, you will see pressure on prices going down. But if we then kind of change direction, we get under 3 months of inventory, that's when you could see some level of price growth with the condo sector. So what does this all mean? Well, it doesn't mean anything. It's January, for goodness sakes. We still have a whole bunch of months to start this year to see how this market's going to play out. What Bank of Canada ends up doing, what the 5-year bond yield ends up doing is going to dictate the market. And it's also going to be how much inventory is available at any point in any price point for the different categories of housing. We somehow get surprised every single year when January does this, but it's because we're comparing it to December and November, which are really, really slow months. And I don't think anyone should be shocked that January started this way. We knew inventory was going to come off the market. We knew there was a lot of talk that potentially rates were going to come down, and that alone is going to lend some level of confidence to buyers when making decisions. I hope that all made sense. I hope that clears things up. We're very much in a balanced market. Some segments of freehold inventory are still in a seller's market, and condos are teetering between balance and buyers, but we'll have to see what the next few months show us. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.